What's up, everybody? Today I want to talk about books. I'm going to tell you the couple favorite books that I've read this year and then what I'm reading right now. But first I want to tell you a little bit about how I view reading. I'm constantly reading between 5 and 15 books, and I rarely ever finish an entire book. I used to feel guilty for that, but I don't anymore. And the reason is because to me, reading is really a form of thinking. It allows you to explore and process new ideas and old ideas in new ways without being limited to only the experiences that are currently in your head or the things that you're perceiving in the world. You get to follow someone else's thought process, walking you through certain ideas that they've thought about based on their experiences and the books and ideas that they've read and that they've had access to. So I try to keep my reading as minimally structured as possible. The only structure I really put to it is I try to read at least once a day. Outside of that, whatever idea I'm interested in, whatever catches my eye, whatever somebody recommends to me that I'm excited about, I'll buy the book and I'll read it basically until I move on to the next thing. I like hardcover books. I also have a Kindle. I also listen to a lot of books on Audible while I'm driving, while I'm making food, doing laundry, whatever it is, or just sitting there. So 3 of my favorite books that I've read this year are number 1, 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. Number 2, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And number 3, The E-Myth Revisited by Gerber, yeah. I really liked Extreme Ownership because Jocko Willink is just a badass. He's an ex-Navy SEAL and he owns a consulting company where he consults the leadership of big businesses to basically be better leaders and take ownership of themselves and their company. And I just love the principle that he stands by, that everything is your fault. Like as a leader of people, or even just as the leader of your life, which everybody should be the leader of their life and should take that role. You have to take extreme ownership of everything in your life. The people under you, if they do something wrong, you can track it back and find something that you did wrong that you could have fixed. And what that does is it allows any mistake around you made by anybody to turn into a learning point for you. So you can grow yourself every time something goes wrong, and things always go wrong. He'll present the principle, the leadership principle, and then he relates it to a business story and a war story, a combat story. And it's just really well done. I highly recommend it. The E-Myth Revisited by Gerber is a really good one. That's my favorite business book that I've read all year. It's a classic. I'm surprised I haven't read it up until now. But essentially the message there is to work on your business, not inside your business. And so I really like how he frames how people should look at their business and sort of separate the different roles of the way you think about your business. Like there's the entrepreneur, the person who wants to create new ideas. There's the technician, the person who actually does the work. And I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but he presents it in a really good way. And if you're a small business owner or if you're an entrepreneur of any kind, then I really recommend reading that book. Now, 12 Rules for Life was probably my favorite one that I've read all year. I'm just such a huge fan of Jordan Peterson. I had a really rough low patch in my life about a year ago, and I listened to Jordan Peterson a lot and just internalized a lot of what he had to say about finding meaning in your life. And there's a lot. There's no way I can possibly summarize this book in this short video, but when I was in that really low place, I just internalized a lot of what he had to say about taking small steps to basically put your life back together and orient yourself towards what you could be and the potential of who you could be. And it just really helped me a lot. And if you haven't listened to his lectures, if you haven't read some of his other books, this is a really good place to start. It kind of summarizes a lot of what he talks about. There's just a lot of truth that can be applicable to anybody in it. So definitely recommend that one too. Okay, quickly, as of what I'm reading right now, on the Kindle, the ones that stick out right now are Born to Run. I'm just about finished with that one, and River Out of Eden by Richard Dawkins. I'm about halfway through that one. That one's all about evolution. It's very fascinating. I'm also reading The Undiscovered Self by Carl Jung. This one is very short, but it's so dense, and it's taken me a while to get through it. But I really love it. It's one of those books where you kind of hang on to every sentence, and there's just a lot packed into each sentence. I'm also reading The Path of Least Resistance by Robert Fritz. It's kind of self-helpy, but it approaches it in a different way. Rather than change your personality to have these traits, like win friends and influence people, or think and grow rich type of thing, it more focuses on build the structures in your life so that you'll naturally do the things that you know you should do. And so I'm enjoying this one. Now, this one is very big, and it's taken me a month to get that far through it, so it's gonna be a while before I finish this one, if I do, but called The Act of Creation. This one is also very dense, by Arthur Koestler. Very dense, but very interesting. And he just really goes deep into it, into how you can take two different things and draw a connection between them, and what the process of that is like from a phenomenological standpoint. I haven't read much of this yet, so but it's very good so far. And finally, I'm reading the Old Testament of the Bible. I've always been an atheist for all my life, and Jordan Peterson has actually opened up the value of biblical and mythological stories for me from a psychological perspective. I want to read some of these stories for myself, so it's been very interesting so far. So that's what I'm reading. I'm curious, what has been your favorite book so far that you've read, and what are you currently reading? Let me know in the comments.